This is section 4.2a worksheet, and we're going to record this live in class in tutoring. So we're going to start at number 7. So I'm going to move this up to number 7, and we'll get started. Everybody want to say hi?
Hi! I like chicken.
What's up?
Wait, who was that?
All right, so for number 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, I guess, it says identify the slope. Wait a minute, let me get this thing. Identify the slope and the b-intercept of the line. And you might need, the key word is you might need to rewrite the equation into slope-intercept form. All right, so some of us did number 7, but we'll go ahead and do it anyway. All right, so we must remember this. Y equals mx plus b. That is the slope-intercept form, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So remember that the m is what? The slope. What is the b?
The y-intercept.
The y-intercept. So on number 7, it's really easy because they give it to you in that form. So all you have to do is look for the number that's with the x. That's going to be the m. So what number is that? 2. And then what is the b? 1. And then what is the y-intercept?
0.
It's a coordinate point, so it's 0 and 1. So x is always 0, and then you take the b, this one right here, and you put it where the y is, and that's going to be the y-intercept. Got it? All right, let's try 8. So on number 8, remember it's y equals mx plus b. And so what is the m on this one? It doesn't look the same, right? It says y equals negative x, correct? All right, so it doesn't have a b. It does have an m. What is the m? What is the m? Negative 1. This means y equals negative 1x plus what? 0. So whenever there's no number there, that means the b is 0. So that means b is 0, and what is the y-intercept then? It starts with 0, 0, 0. So that's the y-intercept, which is also the origin. All right, so let's look at number 9. Number 9 is written backwards. Write it down. Y equals 6 minus 2/3 x. So it's not really in the same form that we need it to be in. We need it to look like this. Y equals mx plus b. So you can see here that this negative 2/3 is after the 6. So which one is the b? The 6. So let's rewrite this where we put the 6 over here. And we'll put y equals. And then we'll take this negative 2/3 x and put it first. So now I have negative 2/3 x plus 6. So now, do you understand what I did?
I think so.
All I did was change this around. Put this in front, and then put the 6 behind it. The 6 is positive, so a plus sign goes in front of the 6. So now what's the slope? Negative 2/3. What's the b?
6.
Positive 6. What's the y-intercept?
0, 6.
0, 6. And you write that as an ordered pair with parentheses around it. All right, let's do number 8 or 10. There's 10. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to write down the problem. X minus 3y equals negative 12. And we want it to look like this. This is our form. Y equals mx plus b. So you notice that we do have an x, and we have a negative 3y, and then we have the minus 12. We need to what we call solve for y. That means we want y to be alone on the left side by itself. So how do you think I would do that? Do you remember equations? When we have to solve for equations, right? Is this an equation? Yes. This is an equation. So whatever I do to the left side of the equal sign, I must do to the right. You must always remember that rule. Dylan. So look up here, I have an x. I want the y to be alone, so I need to get rid of the x. I need the x to come over to the other side. So what I would do is I would subtract the x. Because if I subtract the x, I have to do that on both sides. Draw a line, and then the x goes away. I'm left with negative 3y equals, put the x first. So put negative x, and then put the minus 12. Because remember, I'm trying to make it look like this. So the x is first, and then the number by itself, the b. So this is the b right here so far, but we're not done. Now I have a negative 3 here. What do you think I need to do? Yes, I need to divide everything by negative 3. That means I divide this by negative 3, but I also divide every single term by negative 3. Everything is divided by negative 3. So when I do that, this is canceled, and I get a y. So now y is alone. I have y equals. Now look at this one. Here we have negative x divided by negative 3. So first of all, look at the sign. What is a negative divided by a negative? A positive. So the negative goes away and now have a positive. But what we don't see, and that you always have to remember, is that there is a 1 right here. So what is negative 1x divided by negative 3 becomes positive 1/3, and then you write the x on the side. Now I'm recording again. All right, now I need to divide this. What is negative 12 divided by negative 3? Positive 4. So now I've solved for y. So now it's in the right form. I have an mx plus a b. That's easy now. I know that the slope is what? 1/3. What is the b? 4. That's the y-intercept is? 0, 4. Questions? All right, so on number 11 and 12 and 13 and 14, it says to rewrite each equation in slope-intercept form, then identify the m, the b, and the y-intercept. And then we have to graph it. So we have to do everything on these. So let me make it bigger. All right, can we see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So write it down. You have 2x plus 2y equals 12. And the form is what? Who can tell me the equation that I want to have? Y equals mx plus b. Okay. What do I need to do? Brandon.
You need to put 2y equals negative 2x plus 12.
So I'm going to subtract the 2x from both sides. Remember, it's an equation. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Because I need to solve for y. This is called solving for y. So the x goes away, and I get 2y. Bring that down, it's positive. Equals, always put the x first, the negative 2x plus the 12. Now what? Michael, now what? Dylan?
You divide
Divide by?
2.
Yes. So I need the y to be alone, so I have to divide everything by 2. So the 2 cancels right there, and I get y equals, now I have a negative 2 divided by 2. What is that? Negative 1x. But I usually don't write the negative 1, I just write negative x. If you want to write the 1, that's fine. Now what's 12 divided by 2? So now I have plus 6. Now do I have it in the right form? All right, what's the m?
Negative x.
Negative 1.
Not 1.
What's the b? 6. What's the y-intercept? 0, 6. Now we get to graph it. So the way we graph it, so everybody draw an x and a y axis. If you have to do it on the next page, that's fine. Just number it as number 11. Where do we start?
The y-intercept.
The y-intercept, we start right there. Always start with a point. If you have a point, graph it. 0, 6 is going to be 1, 2, 3, right here. So that's 0, 6. And then we need to do 2 more points, and we have a slope. What is our slope? -1. If you have a whole number, what do you put under it? A 1. So I put a 1. So I have -1 over 1. So remember, if it's negative, you have to go down. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to go down 1, and then I go to the right 1. So over, put a point. So -1, I go down 1, and then +1, I go to the right. And then you could keep going and do a few more points if you want. And then you draw a line with 2 arrows. Number 12 is 5x minus 10y equals 0. Is everybody with me? All right, so what do we have to do? First step. Solve for y. Solve for y. That's our first step. Solve for y. So whatever I do to the left side, I have to do to the right side. So what should I do first? Subtract the 5x from both sides of the equal sign. I can draw a line there if that makes it better. So the 5x goes away. I bring down the -10y equals -5x plus 0. So I can write the 0 or I can choose not to. 0 is just 0, so usually you don't write it. It's up to you. Then what do I do? Divide by -10. And if I divide 0 by a -10, I just get 0 either way. So I end up with y equals what? I have -5 divided by -10. What is that? It's a positive 1/2. So remember, a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 5/10 is the same thing as 1/2. So you put 1/2 x, and then you can put plus 0 if you want, because 0 divided by -10 is 0. Now we have our information. So we have m equals 1/2, b is 0, and the y-intercept is 0, 0. So now I can graph it. Where do I start? Y-intercept. Start at the y-intercept, and my slope is 1/2. Remember, that's rise over run. And they're both positive, so I just go up 1 and to the right 2, up 1 to the right 2. So 13, write it down. You have x plus y equals 3. X plus y equals 3. First, you want to solve for y, and then find this information and graph. All right, so what you should have done is you should have subtracted x from both sides. Did you do that? So you get y equals -x plus 3. So the slope is what? -1, and you can put it over +1. The b is 3, the y-intercept is 0, 3. So then you start at 0, 3, and you're going to go, because you have a negative slope, you go down 1 and then to the right 1. Down 1 to the right 1. Down 1 to the right 1. All right. Good? All right, here's 14. Write it down. 5x minus 2y equals 8. Solve for y, and then find the m, the b, the y-intercept, and graph it. All right, so the first thing you should do is subtract 5x. So you can see a pattern. You're always going to either add or subtract the x first. When you do that, you get -2y equals -5x plus 8, because 8 is positive. Then you divide by -2, everything by -2. And then you end up with y equals, a negative divided by a positive is positive. So 5/2 x, and we always put the x to the side. And then what's 8 divided by -2?
-4.
-4. So now I have my information. I have 5/2 is my slope. My b is -4, -4. And then the y-intercept is 0, -4. So I have to graph that. That's 0, -4. My slope is up 5 over 2 since everything's positive. So up 5 over 2, right there. And then up 5 and over 2. And once you have 3 points, you should be good to go. All right, last two problems. Write it down. 3x minus y equals 2. Okay, so I'm going to solve for y. What do I do first? Subtract the x, right? Subtract 3x from both sides. I get -y equals -3x plus 2. What do I have to divide by? A -1. So I need to divide everything by a -1. So this goes away and I just get y. Then I get a positive 3x minus 2. So my slope is 3, or 3 over 1. The b is -2, and the y-intercept is 0, -2. And now you get to graph. So is the graphing the easiest part at this point?
Pretty much.
Okay. So put 0, -2 there, and then up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1. Yay. Okay, last one. Write the problem down. X minus 4y equals -24. Solve for y, and then you know the drill. All right, so we subtract the x from both sides. And we get -4y equals -x minus 24. And then I have to divide everything by -4. So I get y equals, now remember this is a 1, so -1 divided by -4 is positive 1/4, and you put the x on the side. And then a -24 divided by -4 is positive 6. All right, so now I have 1/4 as my slope, 6 there, and 0, 6 here. So then I have to start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's my point. So I do up 1 over 4. Up 1 over 4. And it should look something like that.